Hi guys, welcome to Muscle Mistakes. I'm Richard Wolff, and tonight we are drilling down on 5 stop doing tasks. We call this your stop doing list, things that we want you to stop doing. Now before we jump into our list here, let's explain a little bit why we would be talking to you about things you need to stop doing when in fact most of the time when you come here it's all about action steps, next step, support, reinforcement, feedback, progress reports. So the overwhelming majority of what we do is about the to-dos, the steps that will lead to excellent outcomes in your workout and your overall health. So why do we need to bother you with a stop doing list? Well, in our modern world, there is a continuous onslaught of what we would refer to as noise when it comes to the strength training industry. And so what we want to do tonight is clarify some of the common misconceptions and some of the things that people do get bogged down in that it's completely unnecessary. We want to free you up tonight so that you can focus on the things that matter most. So what are we talking about? We're going to look at 5 different not to-dos here. Number 1 is we're going to give you permission to take a vacation from your strength training. So that alone will make your time tonight worth it. Then we're going to explain why it would make sense to stop worrying about your workout. And believe me, there's plenty of people out there who are worried about their workout. Then why you no longer need to be afraid of hard work. This is a big one in our culture, and it definitely shows up in strength training. People sort of shy away from high effort activities. And we'll add some context here, but no longer need to be afraid of hard work or intense workouts. And then let you know that you can stop overeating protein. It certainly is an essential nutrient, and we've talked a lot about this in the past 6 months here at MedFitness, but let's give you some simple to-do action steps and not worry about having to have massive high protein meals to get benefits from your strength training. And lastly, we'll talk about why you can stop waiting for your next strength workout. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people who are in the waiting category and losing out on the benefits that strength training has to offer. So let's go to the top of our list. Number 1. It is 100% okay, and we're actually going to recommend that you take a muscle vacation 1 or 2 times every year. Now, let's qualify what do I mean by a muscle vacation. You're here at MedFitness, you're strength training twice a week, you're doing that on a consistent basis, you're working hard on a very basic physiological level. It makes sense to let your body completely rest, take a physical break, take a mental break, and take an emotional break from the hard work that is at the center of a strength training program. So we want you to have access to that time out from your strength training program. But what is the big picture? What do we need to know and understand about this? I certainly don't want you to stop strength training for 6 months. We're not saying to take a 6-month vacation. So let's say you're like the average adult and you're taking a couple vacations a year. And that vacation may be 1 or 2 weeks, 7 to 14 days. Even if you were to take 2 breaks a year of that duration, you're still strength training 92 to 95% of the time over the course of 12 months. So this gives you a physical, an emotional, and a mental break from a very demanding and challenging program, which is what we do here at MedFitness. In fact, those of you who know our trainer, Debbie, she was just out of the country for 2 weeks. Didn't do an ounce of strength training, came back fresh, renewed, ready to focus, is right back on track with her strength training routine. So what's the other footnote here? If you had to consider trying to figure out what to do when you're out of town, identifying the proper form, the proper weights, the proper repetitions, the proper range of motion, all the nuts and bolts that we normally do for you, it's very difficult to get all that stuff figured out on your own without supervision. So we see that as a huge opportunity to actually injure yourself. It's so easy to do things wrong. That's why you're here in the first place for safe strength training. So give yourself the freedom and the permission to not strength train a couple times a year for 1 to 2 weeks at a time as a way of letting your body renew, refresh, come back focused, and you're ready to strength train. Now, 2 options I'm going to suggest here. Number 1 is just don't strength train for those 1 to 2 weeks. That's an easy way to approach it. Just take your mind off it, get a vacation, and then come back ready to train. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to say, well, that sounds good on paper, Richard, but I'd like to at least do something and get some kind of a strength workout in. Well, it's not a terrible thing to do if you want to get some strength training when you're on vacation. What I would refer you to there is our MedFitness Away from Home program. That's a very simple program that we've adapted from what you do here at MedFitness, so that if you're in a fitness environment where you have access to equipment, you can translate what happens here at MedFitness into a simple, full body workout that you could do on your own if in fact you wanted to take that step. And in that case, I'd suggest just 1 workout a week. Give yourself 1 workout a week, let yourself have a little bit of extra recovery, and this will again keep you on track what you're feeling like is necessary from a strength training standpoint. But the first thing to really understand, it is okay and many times productive to literally have a muscle vacation. Just don't strength train for a couple weeks, once or twice a year. So that's step number 1. Stop strength training when you're on vacation. Sounds counterintuitive, but believe me, 31 years of doing this, we know what we're talking about. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to stop worrying about your workout. Now, we live in a fast-moving, modern culture. The news cycle is 24/7. There is a mountain of information being jammed down your throat on a daily basis when it comes to fitness, and that includes strength training. So very often we see members asking us about this or that or another technique or what about this. Here's the take-home message on this one. Don't worry about any of that stuff. I call this cancel your subscription to the Workout of the Month Club. Don't even worry about it. If you can avoid it altogether, that's great. But let the professionals get into the weeds and debate the details. That's what we do. That's our job. You only need to worry about showing up and being consistent. What we've identified is your strength training program. Now, to sort of summarize this notion of don't worry about all of the junk that you hear, I want to quote one of the world's most respected exercise scientists, Dr. Stuart Phillips. He's an exercise scientist from McMaster University in Ontario, Canada, and he published a paper about 9 years ago addressing this issue. And I just read this the other day. I thought, boy, the timing is perfect. The title of the paper says it all, but I'll read you the quote. The title of the paper says, Uncomplicated Strength Training and Health-Related Outcomes, Evidence for a Public Health Mandate. So Dr. Phillips is saying we need to be on the action side of this conversation. It's no longer time to keep talking about strength training. We need people to strength train. Here's what he says. Sets, repetitions, range of motion, free weights, machines, time between exercises, all variables that mere mortals should worry less about, and just practice going to the gym on a consistent basis to get stronger. Nothing fancy other than access, commitment, and knowledge of the benefits. I couldn't have said it better myself. So he's arguing against all the paranoia of details here. Don't get in the grass. Don't worry about the details here. Let us do that for you. Show up twice a week, work hard, be open to the coaching, and you will get an avalanche worth of health benefits on a consistent basis. So literally, you do not need to think twice about this. Stop thinking about your workout. Just show up and take the coaching twice a week. No more worrying about everything that you read on a weekly basis in the field of strength training. So we can take a vacation, we can stop worrying. It's getting better as we go here. Number 3 is that you don't need to be afraid of hard work. And this is really a generational issue. Adults typically over the age of 60 are super sensitive to this, and we work with a ton of folks over the age of 60 here at MedFitness. I'm 55, and I certainly remember it growing up, but the mindset has always been that high effort activity is dangerous and should be avoided. Now, it's possible for high effort activity like strength training to be very dangerous. That's possible. But there are some circumstances under which it isn't dangerous and it is incredibly safe. So what should you know about your strength workout and pushing yourself when you're here in your workout? A couple things. One is that when you are performing an exercise on the equipment that we have here at MedFitness, by the time you get to the point where that fatigue is elevating and some of that muscle burn is showing up in the muscle group, you've already warmed up the muscle. We've drawn blood into that tissue. We've stretched that muscle group. We have already fatigued it significantly by stimulating and fatiguing some of the muscle fiber. So by the end of the set, your ability to hurt yourself is drastically reduced, and your ability to generate high levels of force and move ballistically is also reduced. So if you were to graph this, your ability to get hurt goes down and down and down as the set progresses. Again, you're getting coaching from your trainer. If you simply take the coaching you're getting, that's the best way to ensure that nothing dangerous or risky is happening at the end of the set. But it's not something that's harmful. And at the end of the day, that last repetition or two, or that half repetition that we talked to, we call this getting to muscle failure. That is the optimal dose of stimulus to the target muscle. Not good, not okay, not decent. It is the optimal stimulus to the target muscle. What am I saying here? You get more health benefits training to muscle failure than you do below muscle failure. So do not be afraid of failing at the end of the set. It's a good thing, and as the set progresses, we're already warmed up, we've already fatigued motor units. It's less and less likely we're going to get hurt as we train to that threshold of muscle failure. This is more of a mental issue than anything else. So embrace that, and don't worry about, am I going to get hurt if I feel my muscles burning? The odds are essentially zero that you're going to have an injury as that set progresses. So no need to worry about hard work in your strength workout. Now, what about overeating protein? If we look at the mindset in the United States when it comes to protein and building muscle and getting stronger, there's a prevailing mindset that says I have to eat gargantuan amounts of protein, I have to take all kinds of high protein supplements, and then I can get stronger and healthier and get these benefits. Well, of course, that's completely wrong. The good news is modern nutrition sciences tell us a lot about what our bodies need to build muscle and to get stronger and healthier. And I'm going to give you a very, very simple number. It's easy to get bogged down and confused when we talk about all these calculations and formulas that are frequently used for protein recommendations, but I'm going to give you a super simple one. If you want to know how much you should have per meal to optimize strength gains and health benefits, it's going to be your body weight times 1.3. Super simple. Let me say that again. Take your body weight times 1.3. That will give you the amount of protein that the best science has shown will optimize the formation of new muscle tissue in response to the meal, as well as in response to your overall strength training routine. So this is not hard to do. If I take my body weight of 190 times 0.13, that's 25 grams of protein per meal. That's not a truckload of food. At about 3.5 ounces of meat, fish, or poultry, I can get that number of 25 grams. Now, it's okay to go a little bit above that, but that really is the threshold that's recommended per meal to get a muscle building effect out of each meal. So I'm going to suggest, in this case, for the average adult out there, 4 meals a day, 4 feedings a day. So what does that look like? Depending upon if you eat 3 meals a day, you'll throw a snack in. If you eat 2 meals a day, throw in 2 snacks and space these out as evenly as you're able to. You don't need to walk a tightrope, but what we don't want to do is go to the old mindset, which is I sit down, I have a massive steak, good, I got all my protein for the day, I'm building big muscles. Not necessarily the case. We now know that our bodies respond better by spacing that protein out. So this is new evidence saying that The per meal focus is really what you should ask yourself. Not how much do I need overall, but how much should I be eating per meal as a way of getting to that total number. So for me, it's at least 25 grams. I could go up to the mid-30s here and be in that ideal range for building muscle on a day-to-day basis. But this is not anything like what strength athletes have done for decades, where they're consuming 2 or 3 times that amount. So this is a more scientific, current, evidence-based, rational way to look at how much protein do you need. Now, we have a protein guide. Many of you have read that and you've seen it. That's on our Learning Center. And we're going to be updating that in the month of July and just really refreshing it and putting as much current information as we can in that protein guide. But I would direct you to our Learning Center, which is on our website. If you just scroll to the bottom of the homepage, you'll see a Learning Center tab. That'll take you to all the videos, all the articles, all the lectures we've given, and it's a great resource for you. But you can see our protein guide there if you want to get that updated version in the month of July. So look for that. But simpler is better. 0.13 grams per pound per meal, 3 to 4 times per day to get good results with your strength workout and your protein intake. And lastly, we can stop waiting for our next workout. Believe it or not, there's a ton of people who are waiting to do their next strength workout. What I mean by this is they have either an issue or an injury that they think prevents them from strength training. I'll take myself as an example. I was working a few weeks ago and I did something to my knee. I sort of tweaked it and had it evaluated by the physical therapist. I had to make a few adjustments to my workout, but a common mindset here is to say, oh, I hurt my knee, I need to stop strength training until it gets better. That is a gargantuan mistake for several reasons. One, even if my knee prevented me from training my right leg, I can still work 90% of my body. I can still get 90% of the benefits. I can train my whole upper body, I can train my whole left leg, and I did, and I can make adjustments. I was able to train my internal and external hip. I was able to train the hamstring. I was able to train about 96% of my musculature, even though I tweaked my knee several weeks ago. So now I'm back to my normal routine, but even with a quote-unquote issue, injury, whatever you want to call it, I was able to do what we call work around that issue. This is possible 99% of the time. So no longer does a issue, and it can be anything, or an injury, need to slow you down. So besides missing out on the immediate health benefits that strength training delivers, you're also losing momentum with this health habit. And anyone who's ever tried to live a healthy lifestyle knows what I'm talking about. It is so easy to be derailed in our modern culture and stop practicing a healthy lifestyle. So if you're in the routine of strength training, what we want to do is protect the momentum that you have with that routine. That you can do if you work around these issues when they show up, instead of saying, well, I just can't strength train, let me sit down and eat 1,000 donuts a day. It's very easy to get lulled into that mindset when you're not exercising and taking care of yourself. So we don't have to wait to continue to strength train. We don't have to wait to get back to strength training. Of course, this assumes you have medical clearance if it's something significant, which we would talk to you about. But 99% of the time, we can work around issues and continue to deliver health benefits to the overwhelming majority of your body. So no need to wait on the sidelines under these circumstances. Now, I've said a lot here. We've given you hopefully a relevant stop doing list. Paradoxically, stop exercising on strength training. That's a great one. Stop worrying about the details of your workout. It does nothing for you. Stop being afraid of hard work. That is a safe, productive level of effort that is extremely unlikely to injure your body. Stop trying to eat like a Roman gladiator and eat appropriate amounts of protein at your meals. and then stop waiting on the sidelines. Get into action now so we can get those health benefits immediately versus waiting. By the way, when we think about this one, guys, you know what usually happens if someone takes a break for a month or two? That usually leads to 3 months, to 6 months, to 2 years. Often it takes them forever to get back into routine. So don't underestimate the power of maintaining a healthy routine when it comes to strength training here. Now, we talked about our muscle mistake question. And so I'm going to ask a question here, and this is going to be worth $50 to 2 of our viewers. If you give me the correct answer, your name goes into a drawing, and we'll announce the winners on Monday. So here's your question. Over the last 6 months, we've talked a lot about high quality protein, which is typically animal protein, meat, fish, poultry, eggs, cheese, etc. We've talked about high quality protein and then lower quality protein. We would refer to that as plant-based protein. My question to you is, if you do not consume any high quality protein at all, you're just eating a plant-based diet completely. Maybe you're a vegan and you have no animal products whatsoever. That's a good example. Is it possible to achieve strength gains? Is it possible to build muscle? Is it possible to get the benefits of strength training if you're not consuming high quality protein from animal sources? Yes or no? Yes, it's possible to build muscle on a plant-based diet, exclusively plant-based, or no, it's not possible. You must also eat animal products to build muscle. So that's my question. Yes, it's possible to get strong and healthy on that vegan diet, or no, it's not possible. Okay, post your answer. We'll look for those tonight, and we will announce the winners who will receive $50 off their dues in the month of June. Now, on that note, let me just summarize by saying that anytime we give a lecture today, we record it and post it on our Learning Center. So we have some members who aren't here tonight, didn't have time to view tonight and participate, or maybe aren't even on Facebook. You can always get this by going to our Learning Center, which is on our home page. Scroll to the bottom of the page. It's on the left-hand side. You'll see a square box that says Learning Center. That's a ton of resources, articles over the last couple of years, videos of all of our lectures, as well as some other resources, our MedFitness Away from Home program, our protein guide, and other tools and resources, all designed to support you with living the strength training lifestyle and getting the most out of your program here at MedFitness. On that note, I'm going to thank you for attending tonight. I'm going to ask you to check back on Monday to see who was our winner of our muscle mistake question. Thanks for being here, and I will see you next time.